I shall continue my series of talks on Indian resurgence with a new aspect today. An acquaintance of mine, who is a retired Lieutenant General of the Army, very frequently sends me unsolicited letters, very forcefully arguing on the wrong side of Indian history, I'm sorry to say, with the topic, probably the British idea, that India has become a docile society. It has lost its vitality and virility. It has not the power to hit back at the foreign conquerors. And this has happened more than 1,000 years ago, and therefore we are not able to regain that spirit of fighting back, giving a befitting reply to the foreign marauders. That is why, since the time of Menander, Alexander, and other foreign invaders from the west, the Huns to say that, and afterwards the Ghoris and the Khiljis and the Mughals and all that, we have not been able to give a befitting reply to these. So, what is the use of saying that we have been a resilient society, this and that? Now, unfortunately, Ambedkar also is of this view. He argues in one of his writings, what is the use of saying that India has existed even after foreign onslaughts in the way in which it has existed, with the caste system, this and that, without regaining the warrior spirit, without regaining the spirit to give a befitting reply to the foreigners. It doesn't suggest what should be done, nor does this general give any positive clue towards this. Now, there are two aspects of this in which I want to reply. One is to examine the false view. Number two, to give a befitting reply to this particular discouraging view, demoralizing view that we are a decadent society in terms of war spirit. Now, what this, I don't want to read this letter to you. There is a letter written to me here. What that particular soldier means, without saying it in so many words, is that the whole of Indian society should have become one unit of soldiery. We should have abandoned the caste system. We should have drawn soldiers from agriculturists, from merchants, from the so-called Shudra community of various professions. The whole country should have become one unit of soldiers, Kshatra. That seems to be his view. That doesn't say it in so many words. In other words, if India had abandoned its spirituality, if India had abandoned its musical culture, if India had abandoned its literary culture, dance culture, and the higher aspects of life for which India is unique among the nations of the world, if India had abandoned all these things, it would have become as barbaric as the British community, as barbaric as the Arab community, as barbaric as the modern Chinese community or the Russian community, the communist community. I'll give you a very difficult example. Difficult because I don't wanted to say it, but you are forcing me to say it. If a dog barks at you from a gutter, do you wish to go back to the gutter and bark with the same pitch to answer the dog? You are not the dog. Do you want to answer the dog in its own culture, in its own voice? I'm sorry to give you this demeaning example. No. Of all people in the world, you will be prepared for a shock now. It is Nehru, in his infamous book, Discovery of India, says It is the caste system which has preserved the integrity of the Indian society. This is not Ambedkar. I have no time to quote from. I've said it in so many articles. A teacher of mine was flabbergasted when I read out a sentence from Nehru. It is like Adishesha. Indian society is like Adishesha with 1,000 hoods. If somebody tramples on one hood, other hoods will rise up. Total vanquishing of the Hindu society is impossible because it has innumerable shades of culture, and therefore this is the factor which has made Babur fail, the Ghoris and the Khiljis and the Tughlaqs fail. This is the factor that has made the British people also fail. They have not been able to conquer. Let me add some more dimensions. Unfortunately, the great hero Veer Savarkar was also of the view that the whole of Hindu society should be militarized. In one of his very famous statements, he says, militarize the Hindu and Hinduize the army. Let me repeat, militarize the Hindu and Hinduize the army. He must have said it in a hot moment when even Subhash failed or made to fail by the machinations of Nehru and all that. But if you take it at its face value, what would that mean? If the whole of India had become another warring society, we would have lost all this culture that you have preserved from immemorial ancient times, and then India would have become another jungle society, a warring society, like the communist society. You might have or might not have succeeded in fighting with all the uncivilized forces of the world. War is a chance, it's a gamble. And therefore, the consequences would have been very heavy. There would have been a possibility of a wipeout of the Indian civilization, the Hindu civilization. Unfortunately, we have preserved. This is one side. The other side, I will take it up in the next issue.